I'm Debbie Godfrey. Welcome to the Positive Parenting PEP Talks podcast.
Today's pep talk is inspired by my daughter Briana, who called me today from a farm she's working on in Massachusetts. She's 24, and she was just offering me some suggestions because I was working on my newsletter, and she said, I was trying to think about what's important to me. And she said, when you made a decision when we were young to not work so many nights, that really made me worried because we all sat down and had a talk that, I was out teaching sometimes 3 or 4 nights a week, and it just would cause my whole family to fall apart. And so at the time, I told the kids I was going to make a commitment to not be out more than 2 nights a week teaching. And it was going to take some sacrificing. We weren't going to have as much money as we had, but I would be home. And everybody kind of agreed to it. And Briana in particular was really concerned about money because she's very financially responsible. But she said, looking back now, she's really glad I did that because now she's 24 and she's doing what she considers her life work, which is she wants to farm. And she feels like that was something that was instilled by that choice that I made. And, I explained to her every family needs to make their own choices. And I said, some people, the commitment to provide well for their family is a value. And that's what's most important for them to express. And neither one is right or wrong. You have to do what's right for you and for your family. So thinking about today, what is the most important value for you with your family? What is it most important that you teach your children as they're growing up? All of us have to support our families, obviously. We need to, survive, but to what extent? And what sacrifices do you have to make in order to do that to the extent that you feel is necessary? And is there a way that you can adjust your life so that you can spend more time with your kids? Because that's really what matters to them. That you can tell them, I work hard so that I can support you and you can have all these things you need. And yes, they appreciate that. And yes, they need that, but they need time with you as well. And I had a couple who took my parenting class a few years back, and they had taken it a few times. And they actually made a very interesting decision based on coming to this conclusion that it was important that they were there for their kids as much as possible. And fortunately, they had the flexibility to adjust their work schedules. So what they did was mom started going into work at 4:30 in the morning, and dad would get the kids ready for school in the morning, and he would go into work at, I think it was 8 or 9 after he dropped the kids off. And then mom would get off of work, I think it was about 1 or 2, and she would be available to pick the kids up right after school. And so they avoided the need to use any daycare at all by adjusting their schedules that way. Now, was it tiring? Yeah. Was it a sacrifice? Yeah. It was difficult for them, but in the long run, they felt that it was the best way to serve their family, and that to make that sacrifice for 5 or 10 years, it was going to be worth it in the long run, and they were really happy that they did that. And so looking at your life and your schedule, your values, what's important to teach your kid, while knowing all at the same time that spending that time with your kids, interacting with them, is really important to them. It matters to them. If you can take a day off work and go to one of their field trips, they'll remember that forever. I mean, those things really make an impact. So for today, look and see, where can I adjust my schedule, do something to make an impact, to show my kids that the family matters, that they count, that I do care, and we can make this work. This is our family value. Have a great day and happy parenting.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode of the Positive Parenting PEP Talks podcast. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Debbie Godfrey, owner and founder of positiveparenting.com. I hope you'll go and check out my website and follow me on Instagram and let me know about what you thought about today's episode. Did you learn something new? Were you able to do something different with your children? Did you have a success story? Those are my favorite to share. Let me know. Contact me. I'd love to hear from you. And also, what future topics would you be interested in hearing about on the Positive Parenting Pep Talks podcast? Thank you so much for being here and for all of your support. Take care and happy parenting.